Okay, I would like to call the Monday, May 9th, planning board meeting to order at 7:09 PM. First thing on the agenda, if you do have cell phones, I forget we're back in person now. So if you do have a cell phone, please make sure that it's on mute. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. So we do have the April 11th minutes and the April 26th minutes. Everyone got a chance to read over them, make edits and send them back to Mike. I know Mike got some edits, so. Did everyone get a chance to read over those?
Yes.
Good roll, like I usually do.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the April 11th minutes.
Second.
First by Pat, second by Lisa. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think.
Yep,
vote.
Jim, he voted. Yep, Jim can vote. Yep. Oh, and yep, so that's everybody. Okay. And then the April 26 minutes.
I move the April 26 minutes be.
First by Lisa,
I'll second.
second by Pat. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. The next item on the agenda is the public comment period. And so this is for anyone in the public to make a comment for something that isn't already on the agenda. Anybody online or in person?
I would like to make a comment, Larry Beery.
Yep.
I'm attending as the observer for the Community Party Citizens Observer Program. I'll be making a short, brief summary report to send to the members of the Community Party and other interested people.
Great, thanks, Larry. We are going to change, so I will entertain a motion to close the public comment period.
I move that we close the public comment period.
First by second, or first by Lisa,
Jim
second by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? Okay, so we are going to change up the order of the agenda just a little bit. We're going to move the public hearing for Cayuga Medical to the third item after the public hearings for the first, or for the two subdivisions we have. So we will start with continuing the public hearing for subdivision 2022-4563. Gary Ormsby is proposing a subdivision of an existing parcel located at 2570 North Trip Hammer Road, tax parcel 42.1-1-54, which contains 1.92 acres or 82,764 square feet and is located in the medium density residential district. Did you want to kick off anything about that, Mike?
Jan, well, as you know, last meeting that both parcels were required to have an area variance. Jan and Gary Bush came to the BZA last week and both area variances were approved.
So is there anything else that we need from that one to move forward?
No, if there's any other questions the planning board has, other than that, Jan had talked to me that at this point, we don't have the final plat with the raised seal for approval. So I would kind of recommend that you, maybe we'll wait till the next meeting when we have it in hand, because we really haven't seen even a sample of it, just basically what Gary Bush has given us at this point.
Okay. Any questions from any other members of the planning board?
No, I think we had a good discussion last time. I think the only was, Cynthia Weaver who attended. And I'm assuming that will be worked out and yeah.
So then we'll keep the public hearing open and then we can get you on the agenda for the next meeting. And once we have that final plat, we can take the next steps.
Okay, when is the next meeting?
31st.
The 31st?
31st.
Okay. So that'll give about 3 weeks for.
Yes, it's one of the times we have
that's a
3 weeks.
lot.
I know, it's a long one.
I used to asterisk that on our schedule, just so everybody knew. You can leave town.
Normal monthly plan, did you? As far as when the meetings are?
No, it actually is we do.
It's the second Monday and last Tuesday. So there's a few months that land really weird.
About twice a year, we get. 3
Yeah.
weeks
Yeah.
in between.
Okay, well, I'm happy with.
Yeah, so, we don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Have any other questions or concerns? I'll see you next time.
Great.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the continuation of public hearing for subdivision 2022-4564. Michelle Benedict Jones is proposing a subdivision of an existing parcel located at 1016 Cayuga Heights Road, tax parcel 43.1-1-26.5, which contains 2.289 acres or 99,708 square feet and is located in a low-density residential district. Mike?
And Michelle came, also was at the same meeting, the BZA meeting. In her case, parcel B was the only parcel that needed an area variance. The other parcel does conform, village code, and that was approved.
So we can vote on this one tonight?
Yep.
We've got everything that we
Do you
need.
have any other questions? There was at the last meeting, there was, well, at the BCA, there was a question about runoff that happens to be near the steep slope area, not in the steep slope,
Mhm.
but happens to be near an area where you have a lot of runoff. I didn't know, Brent, whether you wanted to talk about what you had discussed with you weren't with the BCA, were you? But talk about what you had discussed last time as far as most of your stormwater conditions will be taken care of during the building permit process, whether it be by a basic SWIP or standard SWIP, depending on, the amount of disturbance on that.
Yeah, so just my comment was that to acknowledge that if there is to be any construction on it, which would be likely subject to a future special permit approval, that stormwater would have to be considered. So I don't remember, I think it was kind of batted back and forth whether or not it had any value to add it as a condition of the subdivision, or if it was implied that nothing could be built there that wouldn't already require a special permit. So I guess that's in the form of a question, Mike, is there anything that could be built there, say a single family residence or any kind of construction related to a single family use that would not be obligated to go before the planning board for site plan or for special permit review?
As long as a single family home being built on there, that would not have to go through a special permit process. Now, if it were a duplex going on there, it would have to go back for another variance because it would be a requirement for having a larger lot for a duplex.
Right.
So I guess basically I'm summing it up that it would not, more than likely would not come back in front of the planning board as a special permit. So your stormwater is going to be handled through a notice of ground disturbance and through my office as far as a basic SWIP, something that you would look over also.
As long as you feel confident, or, it sounds like you're in control of that process. So I would leave it to you to decide whether or not you wanted it commented in the subdivision, or just you'll manage it when the time is right when it comes to a building permit.
I would recommend the planning board that you let me manage it when it comes through, just like I would any
Sounds
other time.
reasonable.
If you want to different deal, that's fine also, but that's kind of what I recommend.
Yeah, I would say we just let it, I mean, we're approving the subdivision, yes or no. I would let everything else after that follow the normal building permit process.
I'm comfortable with that.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Brent.
Yeah, sure. You're welcome.
This is our new, Yeah.
So this is.
oh yeah, this has everything, including the workshop and the Lansing, the shed. Okay, good. So we ready?
Any other questions about the final plat or anything?
No? I move that we accept the final plat approval of minor subdivision 2022-4564.
Motion by Lisa,
Second by
Pat. All in favor? Thanks, unanimous. So there you go.
I will have him sign it. Do you want me to send it to you? Can you pop in?
Yeah, we'll sign it after the meeting tonight, all the copies and yeah. Great, thank you.
Thank you, folks, all of you. Thank you. Take care.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the continuation of public hearing for special permit 2020-4557. Cayuga Medical Center of Ithaca Incorporated is proposing to use the recently purchased former Bonton store and 2 leased spaces in the shops at Ithaca Mall located at 40 Catherwood Drive, tax parcel 47.1-1-22. Proposed renovation would include outpatient medical offices and related administration offices. Clinics and office spaces are permitted uses within the commercial high traffic district with a special permit pursuant to Village Code Section 145-43 D1C and G. The design modifications include a new exterior fenestration and entrance canopy. And
New is, what is new is Kelly provided us with a layout of proposed parking lot and also some landscaping. And has provided Brent Cross with the needed information as far as water consumption goes.
Oh, yeah, the letter that we got.
yeah,
So
Kelly, did you, Kelly +1. Did you have anything you wanted to kick us off with, or do you want to just open it up to the board for questions?
No, I guess I would just say, we added some of the additional landscaping in the parking lot as discussed at the last meeting. And I think we landed at 167 parking spaces right now.
160. Oh, I thought we had 164 somehow.
It's required to be 190 plus. And then if they were able to show us that 167
Could work.
could work, it was adequate because it would be more than 20%.
Okay, and I think we also discussed that we would be willing to give up some spaces to have some greenery.
The planning board can go, the way I read it, the planning board can go over and above that 20% if there are certain circumstances.
But we're at 167, which is, what is 20%?
Of 190.
Yep.
Times 0.8, I don't know. Oh, 152, oh, yeah, so that's,
Kelly, did you send me over that? I know you and I went back and forth on that seeker. And there was 2 questions on it we went through on 2 meetings ago that needed to be changed. Were you able to do that?
So the one I sent you should have the substantial increase in traffic checked yes.
yeah,
And I forget what the other one was.
it's number 11.
That is also checked yes right now. And then I sent the letter as like that as the additional information.
Okay, did
Oh, that was the
did you
one.
send it at the same time the letter was? The only reason I ask is I
Trying to
don't seem to
remember.
have it. I fully believe that you sent it to me, but not, there's a lot of things that get lost sometimes in my.
Yeah, I think I originally sent it on the 12th and then I responded to your email last week at the same, I think it got sent with the revised plans and then I also resent it today.
Okay.
Just give 1 second, Mike's gonna go check his email.
Talk about the parking lot.
Yep, so while Mike's doing that, questions, thoughts about the proposed parking plan that Cayuga Medical provided us with? I know you had some thoughts, Lisa.
Well, I still worry about people cutting across, but I'm assuming that if people come to the doctors, they will be fully parked, and so people can't cut across.
We can't, yeah.
Right,
I was thinking that yesterday when I was over
yeah,
there.
I mean,
We
because.
can't now because it's open. it's wide
Yes,
open.
no, and I realize that at Target, for example, who has, a robust business, you can't cut across unless you're up in one of the corners, which nobody parks at unless it's Christmas time, I guess.
Right.
And at BJ's, it's dangerous, just saying. But even though they do a good business, so it's just, but I think this goes a long way. I guess my one thing I was thinking of was we know that we need to have the approval from the mall owners. And I was saying to Natalie, does it make sense that this kind of be the gold standard? Or do we just, is every parking lot, when these parcels are sold, get its own design? And I just didn't know. I mean, I guess some of this, what if, we don't know what PMI is going to
So
do,
I
do we?
spoke in broad terms to Mike Gavin, and he doesn't seem to think there'll be any issue with the approval. You know, I told about how many spots were being lost, and he didn't think there'll be any issue from PMI Newco to approve it. There is some concern that Target has a requirement for total number of spots around the mall, but we're losing maybe 12 with this planting, so I don't think it'll be an issue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and Target has a different parking lot configuration than the rest of the mall. So I don't think it's to like approve this plan, and if other parcels get sold out, you'll also likely have an ability to approve a parking lot plan for those parcels.
So as we're looking at the front of the building, the one to the right is actually the mall, isn't it? Because that's an entrance.
Yes.
So is that owned by the mall themselves, the mall owners?
This?
Yeah, to the right.
I
Or
would
to
have to
the
look on
north.
I don't think they've sold off any other.
I mean, but I'm just wondering, if
That's still part of the central.
Yeah.
mall, yeah.
so because it's an entryway, that would be theirs, right?
This entryway you're talking?
No, I'm talking about the
Oh,
mall
off to the
entry.
side.
Just
I
carving
think it's
this out.
labeled, it
And
used to be labeled Old Navy, but they've removed that sign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
because that's isn't that where you go into the
Oh, yeah,
mall
there's a
proper?
crosswalk right there, yes.
So that would, do they own that then?
Without checking the deeds, I think yes. I don't think they've sold off that parcel, but I don't know for certain.
It's over to Michael's,
Michael's then Target.
and then they're right by Target. In fact, people park at Michael's to go to Target.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and there's never been a problem that way, but I mean, times change, so, but I think it's works.
Yeah.
With what we've got here. And Kelly, do you feel comfortable with that too? With 167?
Yes. Yeah.
I know Brent's got a comment. I know Brent, you sent her an email just a few minutes ago too. Did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, if I could. When I went over there to make an observation, within 60 seconds of me pulling up, at least 4 vehicles crisscrossed through the middle of that parking lot,
Yeah.
including the TCAT bus,
Sure.
smack dab through the middle of the field. Part of the reason that can happen on the bus is that the island that's out at the ring road is not a raised island, it's a painted island. And the bus just drove right through it. And so agree that you're probably not going to do too much to prevent people other than filling up the parking lot from crisscrossing, but I think that there would be some value to not painting that island, but actually putting a real island there at the.
So part of the problem with that is that 90% of the island is not Cayuga Meds. It's on the other side of, it's not included in the subdivision. So we could have to work with the mall to get them to do it essentially.
I think
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
should.
the parking
think we
lot
should-
is
I think we
right along.
should. We're talking, yeah, I would say we're talking about this one, right? That's what I thought. Well, you know, I really think we have this opportunity to make this a little safer for everybody and to remedy some of the issues that we have noticed personally. So I think it's another thing we need to talk to the mall about, because
Yeah, Kelly, I don't have it up on the screen, where does your Cayuga Medical's line go?
Am I allowed to share? I think I can share screen.
Mike has screen. Oh, Mike's there. Maybe you can pull it up.
Yep, you should be able to.
Oh. So the Cayuga Med goes to the inside of that 18 spaces.
Hang on one
And
second,
then it
Kelly. It's
jogs
still
out.
loading up. There we go.
Oh, sorry, is it not visible yet?
Yeah, now we can see it.
okay.
Okay, yeah, so it follows like the inside of the curb line here and then comes to the outside, just that 5 feet. and then goes down. So that island that you're talking about, that's just striped is outside.
Property line, it says right there.
Right along. the
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Actually, it's halfway in between. The one that I'm referring to is, there is,
Are you
a-
talking about this one?
yeah, right there. That one's the painted one. The other one,
Oh, okay.
This,
Oh, okay.
is that the one that's cross-hatched, Brent?
Yeah.
Go over to this one.
Painted, remove existing.
Yeah, so the
Yes, there
property
you go.
line is right
Mhm.
there.
Oh, I see, yep.
so in my opinion, even if you only got the amount of the island that's in on your property, that would be an improvement. But I would agree. I think we should probably encourage both Cuba Medical and the mall to, that's an improvement that I think is significant.
They raised theirs. So basically, Brent, if Cayuga Medical raises their half and then the mall raises their half.
Whether the mall does or doesn't, kind of weird if they.
Yes, it wouldn't.
It's just a matter of Cuba Medical getting the mall to allow them to do that work in their.
I see.
Oh, I see.
I see. Well, I think anything we can do to improve safety is worth doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's important. We're about to introduce, hopefully a lot of new Cayuga Medical staff to the area and a lot of new public to the area. And, Brent's seen it, I've seen it. I mean, it is very easy, right? People know that the Bonton's out of business, so it's really easy to drive across there. And if we can
Yep.
do a little bit of work to make it slightly more safe, I think that's the right thing to do. And I think that that's the standard that we should follow, anytime we talk about these.
Yep. Well, I think we discussed last time, I really do think that we need to look at something, having some sort of parking design, and we need to work in that as one of our goals over the next time, working with Brent and John Courtney and Mike and just brainstorming what is good parking lot design.
I certainly have a lot of thoughts on that, and probably not fair or reasonable to ask Cuba Medical to reach an existing lot to be created to a full-blown modern design. But if we ever end up with a clean slate of paper, then that would be the time to really try to get what we really think we want.
Right.
Yep, yeah, I agree.
Oh, yeah, I think so too. I'm not suggesting we do it for this, no.
Right.
And that drive, sorry, I should know this, but is part of the mall property. It's not like, so we don't need any review in terms of like highway department or anything on adding the curb there.
There's no
Okay.
deal.
Okay,
No, it's private road.
okay.
Did you have a question, Natalie?
Is this all curb? This is all concrete? How are people cutting across? Like right here?
Now, what is that? Mike?
That, it says.
It says existing concrete curb island.
To remain in place.
It would seem that
I
would
meant to
prevent people
drive over
from
there
cutting
today.
across, no?
Yeah, but they cut across.
The bus drove right through where that
Yeah, they just zip right through there.
I see, I see.
painted island. Yeah. So, I mean, that's another question I'd like to be asked and answered is when this is active, where should the bus be going? Because it seems not natural or not safe for the bus to be driving through the parking lot. It seems like they should have a designated ring road route of some, I'm not trying to dictate what it is, but I would like to know what is the route for the bus.
Right, does the bus currently stop in front of where the old Bonton is, or is it supposed to stop at the kind of the old Navy entrance that's kind of one to the right? Yeah.
When I was just there, it cut right across the Bonton lot over to the main entrance.
See.
Okay.
They have two stopping areas in front of both main entrances to the mall.
So pretty much to the
One to
left and
north
right.
And the south
Okay.
of Cuba Med
Okay.
property.
So, I mean, that's fine. I think that's something that either Cayuga Med or I would, propose Cayuga Med, then, make sure that TCAT's aware that this project's going to happen and the buses shouldn't be really utilizing their parking lot for that. It's not safe.
Well,
Or the planning board can
Well, I would think once construction
Yeah.
starts, it'll be similar to what's going on down here in the
Yeah.
mall.
Have to wrap
You
it
won't be
up.
able
Cordoned
to.
off, and they're not going to be able to, and it might be self-solving.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
I hope
If
so.
not, I think we'll be hearing from people.
Yeah,
Also, ultimately, after it's done, it would seem like it would make more sense for the buses to stop near the entrance to the medical facility than way out on the ring road.
Oh, yeah. it may-
Yeah, I was gonna say, we'll talk to TCAP because we expect patients to utilize public transportation, so we'd want to discuss with them anyways.
Mhm.
Up here, up here, and here.
The thing is unless the bus drives down, what would it be, Graham Road West? Is that right?
Yeah.
Graham Road West down to the front of Target, it's gonna have to cut through somebody's parking lot. And there just isn't any, the ring road doesn't connect any other way.
Wouldn't they go, they do stop at Target, I think.
Yeah.
don't they? They stop at Target, don't they then come back out to the ring road and then they would come back into this main entrance here and then come around?
I don't think they do. I think they stop, like, if you're looking at Target, I think they come in from the right and they stop there, and then I think they keep going around that. I've seen the, because they go
Oh,
up,
so they go
because they go up to the entrance.
to Mike,
next entrance,
around
yeah.
Michael's and over to
Yeah.
the main entrance?
Which I don't think that's, I mean.
But isn't that desirable in this
Yeah,
situation?
I don't think that's bad. We don't want them cutting across the parking lot, but
Right.
I think it's great to be able for them to have, whatever the appropriate number of stops is in front of the, places at the mall, whether it's Cayuga Medical or another place to drop off people who need to get there.
Well, I think as Adam Long just said, discussion with TCAP, but then once I think things to fill up with people parking there, it becomes evident how this is gonna work.
Yep.
But
Right, I think,
see,
right, you don't see buses cutting across Target because there's cars.
right.
Right,
I think that people are taking advantage of.
not having, having this wide open lot there to,
They did it
behind the mall too, until the COVID testing site went there, and now they can't.
Exactly. So success
Yeah.
means that we should be not seeing this,
And
hopefully.
if we do, we can,
And we'll have, yeah.
Other discussion by board members?
I think the landscaping, we kind of, there's limited things that can be done. There's very little places to put stuff, but I'm assuming from what we see, things seem to grow pretty well there, actually, right
Yeah.
against the building.
Yeah.
So. I have no objections.
did you find what you needed, Mike?
No, for some reason I don't have it, but if you're talking about the seeker, I'm sure Kelly will get it to me, or she got it to me, but I might not have gotten it there. You guys reviewed it, as far as the seeker goes, you guys reviewed it the last time and there's
We did.
changes. So unless Natalie has an objection to it, you know what's in it.
Well, the one on number 11, which was about, that was what this letter was in reference to, correct?
Yes.
The quantity of how it's going to change from what,
But the two changes, I went back and reviewed the video. The two changes we requested were, I believe, 8 had to be yes.
8A has to be, or, yeah.
And like 13 had to be, I'm going by memory there, but there's 2 of them that I sent to Kelly that needed. to be-
I
Yeah,
think it was 11, change from note, 11 was the one, will the proposed action connect to existing wastewater utilities? It's a yes, but we wanted the quantity and the type, which
yep,
this
that
letter
was
addresses.
sent to Brad, but that doesn't have to be on the actual EAF.
So was it 13? Does any portion of the site adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands? No, that doesn't make sense. It must have been,
I know exactly. There's one of them's stormwater to whether it goes over onto other properties.
oh,
Brent, go ahead.
17.
You're muted.
Oh, 17, I'm sorry, I see it here with my, it looked too much like yes, there was a gap on 17. A, will stormwater discharges flow to adjacent properties? It was left blank. And we said it should be yes. I think
I
that's-
did change that one to yes.
Okay, so that's the one.
Brent, go ahead.
Yeah, so, as Mike referenced, there was a letter in the packet that addressed, sewage flow. And, I think it's important to, look at the fact that there was a little bit of an attempt to compare, this space to the new space to the old space. And if you look at it in that narrow perspective, to me, it's a pretty significant increase in the flow, even though the piping might be capable of handling it. What I think I'd like to have happen, and it does, we don't have to hold this up for it, but I think that the mall needs to do, or somebody, I guess it's the mall, because the mall still retains common area ownership, is somebody, we need to keep an accounting, because what we need to know is not whether each individual new occupant has more flow than the other previous occupant. What we need to know is what's the total flow coming from the entire complex. And so clearly this project isn't going to tip the scales of justice, over the edge, but it's the first one, and we need to start doing an accounting. So I may do that separately, or maybe what I ought to do with Mike and Jody is just have some kind of a tally where we can keep track of what was the maximum amount of water consumption, at some normal vacancy rate, or, what you would call the good old days at the mall. And so that we're have a target to shoot for, and then Puget Medical is just the first one on the list. So imagine that it's going to be a long time before we're ever going to have to worry about, is the new occupants exceeding the sewage flow from the original mall. So
This is the sanitary sewer we're talking, right?
yeah, we're talking about
Not
sanitary. sewer.
stormwater runoff and all that. Yeah,
No.
okay.
There was a calculation that I'm guessing the mechanical engineer did for Kelly to analyze the amount of fixture units, which is a plumbing term, to evaluate whether the piping inside of the building was going to be able to handle the flushing of the toilets and whatever other, faucets were going to be run within the complex or within their four walls, so to speak. And I think they concluded that that was okay. They were kind of on the upper edge of the capacity of the pipes, but they aren't anticipating having to put in any bigger pipes. That's similar, but somewhat different than sewage flow, which talks about actual water consumption over, over a year or a month or a day, as opposed to instantaneous flow, which fixture units kind of looks at what's the worst case flow at any second in time. And so it was a good exercise, and I appreciate the information. And like I said, I think it will trigger us to want to just do some kind of a future accounting to keep track of, CMC will be the first one, and then whoever, builds out, we're just going to keep adding up and keep track of the total flow.
Hey, Brent, does the sewer, is the sewer units based on water consumption?
Yeah. It's an
Okay, so
equivalent.
I'm sorry, from what I remember, and you, of course, you were there every meeting too, but during the subdivision of the mall, there was, for your domestic water, there's a master meter for the whole parcel, your whole original parcel. And there was, I believe they had told us that there were maybe a handful of sub meters within the building for some of the larger parcels. Well, they weren't parcels at that point, but for some of the larger parcels now, so that they were able to determine through the ECCR how to distribute payments due to consumption. I don't know whether PMI still has those calculations, whether you could figure the units for the Monton off of that, and then possibly when Cuba Medical comes in, what the new consumption is and whether those units do go up. I don't know, we're kind of chasing the tail on this.
Well, you bring up a good point, and even though my statement is accurate in that we don't want to penalize the mall in general for, one occupant using more sewage than a previous occupant. But your point about so the answer to your question is yes, sewer units are both calculated on anticipated water consumption and then billed each quarter based on water consumption. And so your question or your point is, does Cuba Medical have their own water meter that they will be paying their bill off from? Or are you saying that even a property owner now will still be a sub meter off from the greater mall meter?
Well, the property owner will still end up paying the bill, but as I understood, through the ECCR, they distributed all of the other bills to each store or whatever they thought they use. The same way they would distribute the cost of plowing the driveways. That was all supposed to be handled through the ECCR, I thought.
Wait a minute, I thought vision that Bolton Point insisted that they have their own water meter.
No,
Was it-
they were allowed to keep the one water meter.
Oh, they were, oh, okay.
Otherwise, they would-
I guess I'd forgotten that because I thought, oh my gosh,
Otherwise, they would have had to dig up all the pipes going around.
right. I know, it was a big deal. And so, so again, we're back to PMI, aren't we? Okay.
So I guess, Brent, to sum it up, is it possible that when Cuba Medical comes in for a building permit, that there might be a requirement from Cuba Heights to buy more units? Is that a possibility or not?
I suppose if they had, some astronomical number of units that exceeded what the mall used to use as a whole, but I think not. I think what I'm trying to put out into the public domain is that there's never been an intention to make property owners have to buy new sewer units upon the changing of an occupancy, but that sometimes when you change an occupancy, you do get a higher water consumption. As used as a very most recent example, when the old I think it was at Autodesk. What was where the ADC is now? What did they used to be?
Yeah.
Mold flower, oh, no, that was,
Mold
yeah,
flow,
it was.
Autodesk, yeah.
So when Autodesk was there, it was just some, low density office usage. And I think we determined that they might have been using, one or two sewer units during the course of a regular routine day, but that now with ADC in there, they're going to have occupants and, kitchen and food service and, people staying all night. So it was figured out that they were going to have the equivalent of like 10 sewer units. So we did make them buy more units, but that was because it was clear as to the increase from a single tenant. With this one, I don't feel like I don't think we need to scrutinize every single property or every single tenant, as long as when you add up all of the tenants when it's at full occupancy, that the gross number of sewer units doesn't exceed what was the gross number of sewer units back when the mall was viable or, was busy.
They must have baseline data on this. They've got to have something. Don't you think, the mall? I mean, they must.
I just kind of wanted to bring this up because I didn't want it to be a
Right,
surprise for Cuba Medical.
right.
When it came to the building, but hey, you gotta get somebody, I wanted to kind of talk it over now because Brent is the.
Yeah.
It's
I
But they
appreciate
must-
that. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. And I feel like it's good to ask the question, and I feel that I'm able to confidently tell everybody that Keurig Medical does not need to buy more units because they use more water than Bonton did. What we really want to know is, did the whole is when Keurig Medical is in there and everybody else starts to fill up, does the sum total of sewer capacity from all of the users exceed what it used to be when it was retail stores?
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
Good points. Well, it's sort of like the plant sign area. You get X amount of,
We will use.
yes, and then what? Yeah. Okay.
So do we have everything we want or need if we want to move forward with this tonight, or? do you think
So
we
the
should wait?
seeker was amended with the changes that the board asked for in April.
Right. She can't hear you.
Oh,
Kelly?
can you hear us?
Yes, do you want me to share with a copy I have on my
That would be
screen?
great. You
Yeah.
could see the changes.
Yeah. I get my binoculars.
It was 8A and 17A.
It was 8A and 17, I think, and let me just see. Yep. 8A.
Oh, sure. Hold on. I clicked something and now it's there we go.
So go up a little
Yeah,
bit.
can you scroll up just a little bit, Kelly? Oh, there you go. Perfect. Thank you.
There. Yep.
8A should be there. So those are all yeses.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then 17A.
17A is on this one.
Yes.
Yeah, those
Okay.
were the
Okay,
requested
good.
changes you
Great.
guys asked for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
I could always bring a printed copy if we can't get email to work.
Well, that's good.
So are people comfortable moving forward with this tonight?
we have to go to part 3.
So, if you want to move forward, the first step is to go through the secret resolution.
Yeah.
I think everybody has a copy of that in front of them. So Village of Lansing Planning Board Resolution for Seeker Review of Special Permit Number 2022-4557 adopted on May 9th, 2022. Okay. I think everyone has a copy in front of it. So,
Actually, I can't.
So I will entertain a motion to, it's either an option one is a negative declaration, right, or option two is a, positive declaration. So I will entertain a motion to find this a negative declaration.
It is a net, yes, that's really a positive.
Fine. I know. So,
I move that we accept option 1, the negative, make a negative declaration.
motion by Lisa,
I'll second.
second by Pat. All in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous.
So then you can do number
Then-
3.
Now you can go back to the special permit, but you won't do the resolution yet.
Until after.
But now he has to sign, remember, we have to do part 3, right?
Yeah, so
After-
so I have to sign.
Yes.
Right.
I will have
With,
that for you. So now you can go through either your general special permit or close public hearing.
so we usually go through the general conditions for the special permit as well. So that's what we usually do.
We were-
That's what's on the,
After the secret, but I guess not. Should we? Okay. Switch things around.
what was your question?
No, I said, we previously with the process, we would close it after the seeker resolution, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Okay, so I will read through the general conditions for all special permits for the Village of Lansing. And if you have any comment about that, let me know. So 1, it will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare. 2, it will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the vicinity or neighborhood. 3, it will not impede the orderly development of the vicinity or neighborhood and is appropriate in appearance and in harmony with the existing or intended character of the vicinity or neighborhood. 4, the street system and off-street parking facilities can handle the expected traffic in a safe and efficient manner. 5, natural surface water drainage ways are not adversely affected. 6, water and sewage or waste disposal facilities are adequate. 7, the general environmental quality of the proposal in terms of site planning, architectural design, and landscaping is compatible with the character of the neighborhood. 8, lot area, access, parking, and loading facilities are sufficient for the proposed use. 9, the requested use or facility conforms in all their aspects to the applicable regulations of the district in which it is located. 10, the applicant has shown that steps will be taken where necessary to meet all performance standards and all other applicable general regulations. If everyone's in agreement, we usually vote on this, right? I'll entertain a motion to. What do we want to do?
I move that all the general conditions have been met.
Okay, motion by Lisa. Second by Pat, all in favor? Motion carries. Aye.
Now you want to close, right? And now close the public hearing. We should switch those.
Okay, so now we can close the public comment period before we move on to the special permit resolution. So I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment period. Or not the public comment, public hearing, sorry. Motion by Pat,
Second, I think Jim.
second by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the hearing is closed.
I'd like to add something when you start going through the resolution for the special permit. Within that resolution, you will see in one of the parts that you have reviewed the county's report of the GML 239. To let you know, the GML 39 application was set in on March 30th. They have 30 days to respond. I've gotten no response from them. I sent an email today. So as per the GML 239 law, you do not have to basically take their consideration when you determine what your eventual ending for the resolution. Did I make any sense if I said what I said?
Yeah, we don't.
Get that, I can write
So you
that
can
down.
act without,
Yeah, we can act without their,
without their approval
their
or-
decision or
yeah,
approval.
without their
Yes.
recommendation.
And you don't need a
I
supermajority.
was gonna say we don't need to make the supermajority. Okay.
Okay, so on to the resolution for special permit number 2022-4557. Again, so we did the secret resolution. This is the special permit resolution. I will read over the conditions that we have in there. So we all know what it's about, but be it resolved, the Village of Lansing Planning Board hereby finds, subject to conditions and requirements, if any, set forth below and provisions provided for in paragraph B above, that the proposed action meets 1, all general conditions required for all special permits, 2, any applicable conditions required for certain special uses, and 3, any applicable conditions required for use within a combining district. And 2, it is hereby determined by the Village of Lansing Planning Board that special permit number 2022-4557 is granted and approved or denied, subject to the following conditions and requirements. Soil and erosion control measures and water quality techniques shall be implemented and coordinated as required and approved by the Village of Lansing Code Enforcement Officer and or the Village of Lansing Engineer. And a plan for maintenance and said control measures and quality techniques over time shall be established with the Village of Lansing Code Enforcement Officer and or the Village of Lansing Engineer. B, prior to a building permit being issued, approval by the Village of Lansing Engineer and Village of Lansing Stormwater Officer of, but not limited to, site work, stormwater management and infrastructure plans and implementation thereof. Drainage easements for potential impact from the stormwater management facilities on neighboring parcels shall be obtained, provided to the village for approval by the village engineer, stormwater officer, and attorney, and thereafter recorded at the Tompkins County Clerk's Office. C, required permits, approvals, consents, and other authorizations from all applicable federal, state, county, and local governmental and regulatory agencies shall be obtained, maintained, and complied with for all permitted improvements, operations, and activities as authorized by this special permit approval. And such improvements, operations, and activities shall at all times comply with all applicable federal, state, county, and local laws, codes, rules, and regulations. D, written approval and consent from PMI Newco LLC of the proposed parking plan layout pursuant to the declaration of easements, covenants, conditions, and restrictions dated February 25th, 2022, and recorded in the Tompkins County Clerk's Office on March 9th, 2022 at instrument number 2022-02518. Are there any other things that we wanted to?
No, I just, so this last condition, because the others are kind of our standards. So this last condition.
Provide a written consent.
You've kind of, you've.
Yeah,
And you,
started,
and you,
yeah, obviously Hugo might follow up with PMI Newco, but I have started that discussion with Mike Gavin, letting him know that the written consent will be necessary and he doesn't foresee an issue in getting that.
okay, and that will basically take care of what we've discussed tonight. What, do we need to add any? In this, I guess not. Everything really is dependent on the PMI.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because I would need that to issue the building permit.
yep.
If there's no other additions or conditions, I will entertain a motion to approve the special permit.
So made.
Motion by Lisa. Second by Pat. All in favor? Unanimous? And done. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Well, as soon as you want to start the building permit process or whoever's going to be in charge of that, get a hold of me, let me with the information.
Sorry, there was a lot of paper shuffling. Could you repeat what you just said?
Oh, I said, as soon as you want to start the building permit process, whoever's going to be in charge of that, just start flooding you with some information, or I can, if you want to know what I'm going to require, then I can always send you a list of what I need.
Okay, I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so next item on the agenda is other business. And the first item there is a review of proposed tree conservation and replacement law.
Okay, I'll start.
Natalie redlined last time.
So Natalie, I went by the time got the red line, and I did so.
Yes.
I had some time right away, but really haven't been able for the past 2 weeks to focus on this. I know that you said nothing had been omitted,
Correct.
but I was trying to sit down and say, okay, this was here, and I started to lose it a little bit. And so I decided, I wasn't in the right frame of mind because I had this other project going on. And so I thought I would wait. So I'm not prepared, but I really would like to go over it. And I was talking to Mike earlier and saying, I really feel like I need to sit down with somebody and say, okay, this was here, where is it now? And either he can do that or you and I can do that. What do you want? What do you think?
We can set up a time next week and come in and we can kind of get on this.
Shall we give it the first pass?
Yeah.
And then in terms of how we do this edit, because I had submitted some things that I had wanted. Some actually were some of the things you did address, just with adding headers and stuff to
Yes.
certain things. But I had just a couple of other inserts that didn't happen. So I don't know what are we using? We're using track changes?
Track changes in Word, I would say.
Is that what we're using?
I tried to incorporate all the changes I remember from your comments while I was going through it. So I apologize that I missed some, but I think track changes is probably the best.
Okay, I just want to be sure. That's the only thing I'm very good.
I think between that and just doing what we already do anyway, and keeping dated, okay, here is the latest revision with all the changes in there.
Right.
That people have submitted, so you're not,
Okay. I'm just not prepared
It's a lot,
to deal
yeah.
with this tonight. That's all.
there's no good way in there where it says this moved from here to here.
No, I know,
Change.
and that's one of the things
Yeah.
that we just have to sort of sit down and say, okay, And just be sure everything is where, and does it make sense when you finally know where everything is. So I'd like to have the next, we have 3 weeks. Whoa. And sit down with Mike first and then see where we get.
Okay.
If that's okay
That's
with
fine.
everybody else.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, okay, good.
Any other discussion on the tree conservation?
But I don't want it to linger too long.
No, I say we.
Yeah,
we
I
can-
really want to wrap this up, yeah.
So we've got 3 weeks, we should be able to.
I think so.
Okay. Next item is continue discussion on code update. I don't know what was in that one.
Got to start somewhere.
We do. I know that we discussed a big, long laundry list of items that we want to talk about. And I know there was quite a bit of, I know in the past, the board had put, prior to the pandemic, a lot of energy into talking about short-term rentals. There was it's just a kind of, growing thing at all municipalities. I know Carolyn, who's on it, put a lot of effort into that, but there was also, some input from the public here in the village about some concerns they had. So I would be happy to say, let's let that be the first thing that we tackle. I think that we've got a good start on it anyway. And I think that with recent changes in Ithaca, there's a good framework for us to also take a look at and see, at least some thoughts about what else has been done in the immediate area. Maybe not other municipalities, but I mean right here in Ithaca.
So we had received an email of our village residents about this too. And I think I responded to her and she suggested, and maybe Brent, is Brent still with us? Yes. Suggested that we get in touch with the mayor of the Cape Heights because and maybe that's not a bad idea because see what's not working on what is kind of thing. Brent, do you have any sense of that for the short-term rental in Cayuga Heights Village? What some of the things that are not working and some of the things that are?
Yeah, I do. I'm not sure that I would say certain things aren't working. What I would say is that the obligation, the law has created certain rules which are very difficult to follow or to be able to verify if people are complying. So I would say it's working well in that the people who either want to be or need to be regulated are being regulated because either they volunteered to or they've proven themselves to be worthy of attention, so to speak. There may be other people who are operating without being included in the regulatory process. And so, there's 2 ways you can think about that. One, does that mean that you got a whole bunch of people who are doing illegal activities? Or is it simply if they were doing something that was disturbing of their neighbors, then their neighbors would have a tool to drop the dime to the village to be able to get some eyes and focus on it. So it just depends on how you look at that, the zoning enforcement, whether or not it's critical to make everybody comply or whether just having enough language in your toolbox to be able to get to somebody if you need to. But in general, the Village of Cayuga Heights version is pretty restrictive. It limits the use of your personal property to either a maximum of 14 days per year when you vacate your property. Say somebody wants to rent your whole house. If you vacate for either a long weekend or a whole week or whatever, you're limited to a maximum of up to 14 days in the whole calendar year. If you stay occupied in your home and you have a space within your home that you can then add a renter to, short-term renter, then the Village of Cayuga Heights law allows that to be extended to 28 days. There's also some reporting metrics, but you were probably weren't asking me about all the details. You were just asking if I knew the, the what's working and what's not. And I would say, in general, any law that you have will work, and just you have to decide whether or not you want it to be, for Mike, it's going to create work for Mike or for somebody, because if there's this system of trying to figure out, the county has a greater leverage on these folks in that they have to collect room tax. And there's some things that have happened at the county level, which I would be happy to spend a lot of discussion about it. I know, one, you don't want to hear it, and two, I don't want to take your time, but the bottom line is the county has made contractual agreements with certain groups that prohibits the municipalities from sharing in the knowledge and information that the county gathers. And so what's happening right now is the Village of Cuyahoga Heights and the town of Ithaca, as the two primary short-term rental regulatory agencies, are trying to organize in a way such that we can collect that data, the online filtering and learning, trending and all that kind of stuff. It's going to cost us money directly instead of benefiting from the county's effort, which is, irritating. But if we don't do that, then we're choosing to completely look the other way. So I think that a combination of staff time and some cost for the consultants would be something you should expect.
No,
One piece of
Chris.
information that I think you'll find very helpful is if we talk to Marty in a couple of months, because their statute requires registration by June 1st. And so in about 2 or 3 or 4 months, maybe he'll have some information about how many people actually did perform that, how easy was it for him to implement his registration system. And I'm sure that if it's working for him, he'd share it with us. So I think finding out how well that worked would be really useful information, but that's not available quite yet.
Well, we're kind of into this, and then we've now had a 2-year interruption. So, we got to go back and kind of look, because all the various, the big difference with Village of Cuyahoga Heights is they have a police force. We do not have that. So I think we have to be really about what makes sense. And, my main concern was always erosion of the neighborhood. But we've had our one complaint about a party house, and that's a common complaint. That other, so we really have to get something that we can enforce ultimately, but we don't want Mike running around.
No, and I think it goes back to what Brett mentioned, right? We want enough in here to protect the village, but we don't want it to be administratively burdensome,
No.
because.
We got one person to do it.
Yeah. And right,
Unless you deputize us,
For all these proposed laws, we're always doing it for some reason. And almost all the time, we're not doing it because it's some type of cash cow, that's for sure. For example, the tree preservation law, you're doing it to beautify the village, and there's a lot of reasons for it. And as you said, your reasoning behind going through this for short-term rental, my reasoning for it would be, I would hate to see someone rent out their house and that house is not adequately protected by, let's say, smoke detectors, let's say, proper fire extinguishers. That would be my concern for this whole thing. So yes, you're going to have people submit maybe a permit or whatnot, however you want to do it. But there's going to be some type of inspection that's going to have to go with that.
Right.
So just keep that in mind.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's not simple, but I think, and then, I think we came across, I think even at the county website, there's these levels of how restrictive do you want to be? Do you, for some reason, 29 days seems to be a biggie. But I mean, and then there's whether whether the owner is there or not, even if it's an accessory building, as long as they're on the property, I feel differently about it because then they're putting up with whatever it is that's happening there along with their neighbors. So have good control. And I mean, I have one of our houses next door is an Airbnb. It's fine. But I miss having a neighbor. And so that's why I get into if there's too many of those, there is no neighborhood. So that's one of my concerns. But yeah, I think we should do
I think-
STR.
I think that it's a big item in the village. I think that some of the other things that we've hit have been relatively big items. Some, maybe more directly to, feedback from folks in the village and some just more proactive. But I think this is a good one to tackle next. And we've got a lot of groundwork laid for it already, which.
Yeah, exactly. Same with solar array.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Carolyn is waiting to hear. The one thing though that we did talk about too is just kind of a general starting to work on our code book and revisions. And so I think we need to do that alongside this. Because maybe we can subcommittee some of this. If we get a full board back on,
Yes.
that would be something to talk about. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think, so we've got 3 weeks between now and the next meeting, so maybe I'll reach out to a couple of board members
See what we can do.
and see what we can put together. Maybe we can have something to just at least get a general path forward about short-term rentals for the next meeting.
Yep.
So I'll do that.
I have something I want to bring up.
I was gonna say next item.
Are we done?
Yes. Still other business.
Okay, so I realized tonight, and then Pat was a great demonstration. I had mentioned this. At one point, our previous attorney and I had spoken about why do we have Monday and then this Tuesday? Wouldn't it be easier for always Tuesday? Well, there was a conflict, but I would like to see that we make our meetings on Tuesdays. I find that given the way we have, often we get our stuff late on a Friday. By the time everything's put together, if you're going away or having anything to do in your life over the weekend, Monday, I sometimes don't feel that I have been as prepared as I should be for this. And I take it seriously and I don't like the feeling of that. Tuesdays are so much better. Because you actually have 2 days where you're really back and you're back in the game, sort of. And I was just wondering if that's something we can consider. I don't know how you go about doing that. I don't know how everybody feels about that. But if not, if that doesn't seem to work out, then I would like to suggest we change some of our deadlines for that we really hold to about when applicants have to submit their stuff to Mike so that you can get us either or. My preference would be that we just make it a Tuesday. We know it's the second and the last Tuesday of every month.
I would imagine, Natalie would know more, but my opinion is it's policy, so the trustees would have to change.
Yeah, that was my.
Yeah,
initial
yeah.
thought.
But, okay, aside from that,
But still.
how does everybody feel about this? Jim?
Well, I would have a conflict because I have another organization that meets on the second Tuesday of every month.
What if it was
Oh, the
first and
second
third?
Tuesday. How about the first and third? Is there a conflict with that?
They always meet on Mondays. It's the first and.
And the trustees are Monday and,
The third Tuesday is, I believe, your BCA,
Day.
the third Tuesday, of the month. And not that that can't change, but
as often as they meet.
often.
I was gonna say, as often as they
And we
meet.
had 2 meetings back to back.
Seriously.
That's a lot
Ooh,
Yeah.
for your.
Were they on Tuesdays though, or were they on, oh yeah, they were on a Tuesday.
They're on
They're always on
Tuesdays,
Tuesday?
yeah.
I am more than happy to, I mean, it would impact my schedule too, but I'm happy to try to make it more standard where it's not
I think that would help
second this and last something different.
constituents too, knowing that it's on Tuesdays.
I mean, it
Yeah,
could be Wednesdays probably, but as long as
Oh.
there's something,
Oh,
I think more.
I just
anything
can't do
like-
the third Wednesday.
okay, see, there's gonna always be some. Okay, so Jim, you can't do it, what did you just say, the third?
Okay, by the way, the group
second.
meeting is breaking up a little bit. Yeah. See, right now with the second Monday and the second, if you travel, the second Monday and the second Tuesday are great because they're back to back. But I couldn't do the second Tuesday.
Yeah, so just the second,
Yeah,
Tu-
but-
if we went to a Tuesday schedule, the second Tuesday won't work for you. I mean, that's fine. We could,
How about the first Tuesday in the?
yeah, I was
And
coming,
then
we
they
could,
would be
Uh,
back to back. That would.
well, that's why I would say like first and third. I don't know unless there's a short month if that.
What about,
I
what
think we
about,
should move the BCA. Say again?
Second Tuesday.
what about Wednesday?
Your week a little bit.
I'd rather just stick with what we've got personally, but I just
Okay.
wanted to bring it up. Okay, first and third, how agreeable do you think the BCA? If we're gonna have to get it approved by the trustees anyway, they could. With the
They would have to, yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how we got to these. Of this, I don't even know.
Maybe the other thing is I think somebody said, leave it as is, but more strictly enforce the deadlines when people or entities have to get materials to the planning board. So like you said, stuff's not coming in on Friday or during the day on Monday.
Yeah, I'll check with Ronnie. I think there's a bunch of different options we could. I mean, if we more strictly enforce our time limits, that's on us. But if we wanted to move it to another day, maybe the mayor has some thoughts about it
Thoughts on
too. And I'll chat with him about it and we'll see
Okay,
what he says.
should I talk to Lynn Leopold?
Let me talk to Ronnie first and see what
See if
his
there's-
thoughts are. There might be,
Okay.
maybe
may be
he's
a
been here for a
reason.
long time too. He's
Yeah.
got a lot of knowledge about no, and here's why.
Yeah.
But there
I-
could have something to do with village elections. I don't know, but who knows? Who knows how we
All
got
I
there?
know
but yeah.
is, it occurred to me today, and then Pat.
I've done.
Thank you. Yes, don't tell me. Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
I'll talk to Ronnie and I'll come back to the
Okay.
board meeting and we'll talk about it. Because they do have they have a standard schedule.
Weeks as the Board of Trustees, if
What?
you're first and third.
Is the Board of Trustees.
That might be a good, honestly, that might be a good
Get it
thing.
all
I don't
done.
know.
Give me a week off.
Hang on a second.
Oh, I
never mind.
see.
It might be a good thing. It might also be a good thing if, I know that it doesn't happen that often. It might happen about as often as there's BZA meetings, but it might be a good thing if we need to have a joint meeting for certain things. We've done that more and more over the years. If they land in the same week, that might be, I don't know if
We're talking about the first and
Yeah.
third Tuesdays?
Yeah.
And Jim was not available on the
the
second.
second, right, but the Board of Trustees is, yeah.
Can't say I'm real enthused about the first and third Tuesday, but I'm just one voice.
Majority
I
group?
mean, Tuesdays aren't great for me either, but I think the point is, it sounds like everybody on the board is willing to see if we can come up with something more standard and.
What is,
we'll chat.
Mike's being awful quiet.
Oh, I kind of live here anyway. So.
I see your truck an awful lot when I drive by.
I like to find out if it's okay for Brent, because he's really.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's
Brett.
true.
Other commit-
Oh, he's on the
I
phone.
don't know if he's got
Oh, yeah.
other commitments.
Oh, that's true too. Well, listen, we've got some homework. Brett,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
we were talking about maybe changing our meetings to always a Tuesday. What is your schedule like on Tuesdays usually?
Well, it's technically my date night with my wife.
Oh,
Uh-oh, that may be the game changer, Will.
But, I can make it work either way.
Oh, no, I can't take.
Let me just talk to Ronnie. Any more, thanks, Brett.
Okay. I-
Plan them.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Sure, it makes it to the minutes.
Yeah, you don't. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Yeah, no. Any other items?
Under other business.
Okay, trustee reports. I don't know who trustee.
That was me.
Patrick.
Of course, my Zoom cut out on me during the meeting, so.
Oh, sure.
My internet went out last time I was trying
That
to do.
could be true because it's been cutting out here.
Oh,
So, I would prefer to see the bus stop at the intersection on
Always, there.
Uptown Road
what did they decide?
instead of halfway down Uptown Road. They want to have it at the intersection right by the Chevy dealership there,
okay.
They did, who they? Who's they?
the Board of Trustees.
Oh, the Board of Trustees, okay.
Hearing for proposed local law C to amend the sewer permit fee back to the original $2,350 per unit. That'll be on May 16th, 7:35 PM. And they waive the April water / sewer penalty for N7211.
That's it.
So
There are a bunch of exemptions.
with regard to the bus stop, so the controversy was that TCAT was proposing directly across the street from their current stop, which is a location that John Courtney's not comfortable with. So John proposed that it be at the corner and that there be a crosswalk placed there as a compromised location. He was more comfortable with that location. It has not been something that the Board of Trustees decided on. It was just something that John brought up as something to potentially pitch to TCAT, and that's where it was left. So that may happen. They might not like the idea, but John's not comfortable with their current location and has voiced his safety concerns about that.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Carolyn, I had kind of I was sitting in on the meeting and my opinion is, I don't think we should be giving them suggestions. Because I'm not a lawyer, but I would think that if we say, hey, we suggest you put it that place and something happens, we're the ones that are gonna point the finger at first time. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's just kind of.
Could happen.
Because the first time I came here to work, I go out on a job site and I'd see something wrong and I would have to tell them how I would fix it. And it's not, I can't do that. It's not my place and I'd become liable at that point. So I don't know, just think about it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, somebody should, I think John has probably already contacted him, but if not, he could phrase it as, we're not comfortable with the current location. There might be other places on Uptown Road we'd find more attractive.
So who's gonna get that message to John?
I mean, I can tell Ronnie what you just said, Mike. That's fine.
I think.
Yeah, I've kind of discussed it with John that next morning
Oh, okay.
to be somewhat careful as far as
What was,
going out on a limb with that.
and
I
I,
like the old location, but with John's safety concerns on the record, it's kind of a non-starter because now if anything happened, we were clearly warned. But the reason I liked the other bus stop because I liked it a lot better than people standing on the side of the road where there's really nothing to stand on. I mean, it's just a divot. So they're basically on the road. So I thought anything was safer than that. But now that people have expressed otherwise, you know, the liability is kind of the high potential.
so Carolyn or anybody else, I went to the Board of Trustees meeting when they brought up the kind of the proposal for, the new one. What's wrong with the place that the current bus stop is?
It's
From
just a stick on the side of the road. It's not, so there's a structure on the south side. On the north side, it's just like a little, a sign that says bus stop. And the road itself has no shoulder. So you're literally just standing almost in the road when you're standing there.
So why couldn't they augment the existing location of the bus stop to do something?
That's what they want to do.
No, I thought they wanted to build across the road from where that current little one is.
Yeah.
There's one in each direction.
Yeah,
There's two.
right. So that's the answer to the question. The bus is going the wrong way.
Well, that's actually what
I
John
think that was
thinks also.
mentioned.
I've got an easy fix for that.
John feels strongly that they're going the wrong direction. Yes.
That was
that's
a devil's
also
advocate kind of question. I'm sorry I set you up.
meeting, though, all the appointments were made.
Yeah.
So Pat is now a full-fledged 5-year member,
Was that the meeting a week ago?
and you were.
That's apparently when I
and you
became
were
chair.
appointed chairman.
Became chair. That's right.
Thomas?
It will happen at some point, I think. Thank you. Okay, anything else from the trustee? Okay,
Was it?
that's it. Unless there's anything else from anyone, Mike, I know you usually have some final thoughts, maybe anything?
No, I mean, your next meeting, the 30th, you may have the beers, I don't know.
You still not heard anything from them?
And you're gonna have Jan Ormsby. That's the only thing, these are the only ones I know for sure. You could possibly have the VA clinic.
Oh, the
Okay.
VA clinic. That's right.
They're looking to install a VA clinic. I think I went through this in
Party City was, right?
Party
Yeah.
City.
Mhm.
I had mentioned it at one point. That may be winding up at that point. I mean, winding up as in winding up at that point.
Excuse me, I didn't hear the location.
Oh, but where Party City used to be?
Oh, okay, Party City, that's right.
Next to the
And they,
upcoming Aldi.
Yeah.
Yes.
When's that gonna be open? Do we know? Do we know when Aldi's gonna be open?
I don't know. They're
They're boogieing right
It
along.
doesn't look very far along
I
yet.
don't know, they've done a bunch, but I mean, those things take forever anyways.
Well, it comes together quickly, maybe at some
I'll give
point.
you more information later.
I'm guessing
Okay.
not this summer.
There's not much to those stores, so.
Yeah. Is there anything with the VA clinic, kind of like there was with the alcohol console that we would have to think about? I know there was quite a
Oh,
bit of
for some of our
discussion. Just,
definitions?
yeah, definitions and like usage in
The
that
code?
district.
No, the clinic is clearly is clearly defined.
Okay, okay,
And you'll be reviewing that because same way you're reviewing the special permit for Q the medical is your change of use with a change in parking.
So I was speaking to someone who goes to a VA clinic and I couldn't answer. So there is a VA clinic like in Dryden or on the way,
The
or
Dryden Road, yeah.
is this replacing that? Do you know? I mean, is this,
There's one on Dryden Road.
yeah, I don't know.
It's on the right-hand side heading up towards Dryden. I forget what,
On Route 13?
on 13.
There's a
Oh, there's-
VFW.
there's-
VFW, yeah,
Hey, great.
definitely.
No, it's before that.
Oh,
There
okay,
is
well,
a
interesting.
walk-in clinic thing, but I always thought or something.
It's definitely a VA.
Okay.
It was there when I was working at TC3.
Wow, I've never noticed, probably just, because I don't need it or something.
Probably don't have a big flashing neon sign.
No, and I was just curious because they said, oh, that would be great because they're in Danby. They said, save us a little trouble from going so far. I said, well, keep your ears open because I'll keep you posted as best I can, but
I think that
Okay.
one's pretty small too.
yeah, probably. Maybe that's the point, is it's small.
Party City's big enough to. Yeah.
That's all I
Okay.
got.
Did you have something, Lisa?
To adjourn.
Oh, okay. Jim?
yeah, this is totally different topic. I guess it's to Mike. Do you know, are there any plans on the mall owners to resurface or improve the ring road? It's parts of it, when you get down to West Graham and parts of it are in pretty bad shape.
Really bad.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the punchline, Jim.
If you know anything about it, if they said anything to you, or if they've been encouraged that it needs attention.
I have not heard anything, Jim. All
I
right.
suppose we could bring it up while you're talking to Mike Gavin about some of these other issues.
Gavin.
Another topic came up with the, yeah, that's fine, there you go.
Oh, well, focus on what we want first.
You should be talking to Mike Gavin.
Yeah,
Not me.
I know. Jeez.
You gave him the heads up at least.
Okay, so.
okay, well, if there's nothing else, Lisa did move to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
By Pat, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned at 8:34 PM. Ooh.
Nice.
I'm telling